Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfred Amuzu. Please give me a signal if you can hear me. If you cannot hear me, let me know so I can fix my audio or video. But welcome to the show. Today's show is going to be wonderful. We have three things table for discussion today. Obviously, you know, we are still in the negotiation stages for the 2022 budget. And in doing so, we have taken a look at a couple of countries, I think 4 of them or so. We looked at Malawi, Uganda, Congo, and our own neighbor, Ivory Coast, who have also implemented a version of e-levy. And we are going to take a look at the e-levy to ensure what they have, done at their level, what they have implemented in those countries in comparison to what has been proposed in Ghana, and see if there are things we can learn from them, if there are tweaks we can make to ours, so that we can also have a way to generate revenue to kind of cover the gaps that we currently have in terms of our tax to GDP ratio. We are currently hovering at around 12%, which is below the sub-Saharan African standard. Sub-Saharan Africa is actually registering a 15.7% tax to GDP. But of course, Ghana is around 12.4%, which is even below what Southern Asia countries actually generate annually. So can we be able to learn lessons from what we saw or what has been done in Uganda or what has been done in Congo or what even Cote d'Ivoire did to see if, we can also implement e-levy in Ghana, in our country, to cover the revenue generation gap. So that will be one of the things we talk about, the first topic we deal with today. I'll be joined today by my regular panelist, Paul Disosu of the NDC, also Efa Amaya of MPP, and if we are lucky, we would have Ato Komina Danso, who's a neutral, would also join us to discuss the details or the matters we table for discussion. Also, Daniel Amposa will be joining and canvassing for the MPP. The second topic we table for discussion today is the GPRTU strike and a couple of other strikes in the country. We've seen multiple demonstrations, mostly because of the proposals in the 2022 budget, some specifically the GPRTU one, pointing out the recent increases in fuel prices as a reason for the demonstration. They are saying that it wants certain tax handles or tax provisions in our country be reduced. If you see me looking sideways, it is because Manchester United is playing and I have my TV on and I'm watching. We are 1-0 up. Penalty by Ronaldo, so I'm excited. So if you're watching the game as well, give us a shout out. Let us know you are watching. I see Akwesi B. Nemo of Akko Radio is watching us, and you have indicated that our sound is working perfectly. Thank you, Kwesi. Akwesi Nemo, for watching. We really appreciate it. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana agenda is on, and today's discussion is going to be very interesting. We're talking about three things: GPRTU demonstration and all the demonstrations that we've witnessed. One that was named Demonstration for Justice or Justice for Ghana, which was led by Bernard Moner. And that one was specifically for demands that the e-levy be revised, etc., etc. So please tell a friend to tell a friend. I'll be joined by my regular panelists, and we'll be discussing, the budget, where it is, what should be done going forward, whether, the e-levy should be implemented or scrapped. There were countries that scrapped it, and I could go over the story. So what we've seen in Uganda, and even across the board, all the countries that have so far proposed some shape of e-levy, we found out that no country actually proposed even 1.5%. The maximum they've proposed, again, in Uganda, they proposed 1% somewhere in May of 2018. And then, there were demonstrations, just like we are seeing in Accra, where people are demonstrating. Even in various cities, yesterday we witnessed demonstrations from Sunyani, Agape, etc., just kind of expressing frustration over the hardship that people are actually going through as a result of, increasing prices or this, new taxes that has been introduced by this current government. So, in our discussion, we are going to look at what are some of the motivations, what is behind this tax since that we are seeing in the various countries, and is it that these countries are just mimicking each other? Because what we are seeing in Ghana was done in Uganda. Okay, so Uganda, they introduced a 1% in May 2018. People agitated. They went back to the drawing board and revised that to 0.5. So Uganda currently have a 0.5% tax on transaction fees. The criticism is that it is only on it's only on mobile money transactions and not on bank transactions. And what you find is that mobile money is heavily used by actually people who are poor. In other words, the rich have access to the banking system. They have the minimum deposit requirement. They have the ID card requirement in order to open a bank account. So the rich, when they have to do those transfers, usually would refer to the banking system versus actually looking at the mobile money as their only way. So what we saw, or what was published about the Uganda case study, was that when they introduced the e-levy, transaction volumes actually fell significantly. You could see the number of transactions being done in a period has significantly gone down. And we also saw that the value has gone down. So mostly you will see people transferring anything below maybe $100 to up all the way up to $2,000 and above. And you realize that the people who actually transfer anything more than $2,000 are, of course, well-to-do people who have access to the banking system. And so when mobile money transaction taxes were introduced in Uganda, immediately those with the means and access to the banking system fell off and went to do their transactions in the banking system. You could see that the higher value transactions actually fell off, as compared to the lower value transactions. So interesting that we'll see what's interesting to see what the situation will be in Ghana. So that is Uganda. They introduced that. They currently have a 0.5% tax on COVID. Okay, I'm being joined by my guest. So far, I have Paul Diso, so I'm going to bring him in as I continue to introduce the topic. Paul Diso, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. I see you on the road. How are you today? I've just been talking about the topics we table for discussions, but I'll let you say your good morning hi to my listeners before I continue to do that introduction. I lost your video temporarily, but if you're hearing me and you come back on, I would give you the opportunity to say hello and good morning, good afternoon to viewers and listeners. Okay, so viewers and listeners, as I was saying, the Uganda story is such that it is currently the only country actually with the implementation or the transaction tax is currently implemented. Then we move on to Congo. Congo introduced the same thing, but one thing we realize in the issue of Congo is that theirs was a little haphazard. It wasn't known who is to pay the tax, who is to do the collection, because there are various institutions in Congo that does tax levying or that are able to just impose tax on citizens. And so there was that confusion when they roll out their policy statement on this particular issue. So as far as they are concerned, as of today, they scrapped it because they didn't scrap it per se. It was just that nobody is actually complying with it because nobody knows who's supposed to be paying the transaction tax, whether it's going to be the mobile money platforms or whether it's going to be the users or the recipients of funds, the users of funds. Just to kind of go back to Uganda quickly, when Uganda revised this after the protests and demonstrations, what they did was that they specifically assigned the tax only to mobile money withdrawals. So it's not like when you do a transaction, you will be taxed. The taxation is limited to just the withdrawals. Now, of course, we are saying Congo did not see this materialize. It's still a law on the book, but nobody knows who collects the money or who's to pay the money, and therefore there is that confusion. We've transitioned to our neighboring country, Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire has tried exactly the same thing. Cote d'Ivoire actually introduced, I think, 0.5% transaction tax on mobile money. And what they realized was, again, the same agitation we are seeing in our country where people are demonstrating, registering their frustration over the transaction or the proposal. And Cote d'Ivoire decided, okay, all right, somebody's giving me my quick tips here on how my keys are not properly set, and therefore I'm having the green the green screen show. Mostly it's my lighting. I think I need to properly configure the lights well. But once my guests come in and they start talking, I'll have some breathing room to get up and I do some adjustment to the lighting. But that is Nana Akuffo. Nana Akuffo, thanks for that quick interjection. Paul, are you with me still? If you are, say something so I can hear you. I lost your picture quickly. All right. So in a case of Cote d'Ivoire, what actually ended up happening was they proposed a 0.5% transaction tax on mobile money. And, they faced agitation. People complained. Demonstrations occurred. And so Cote d'Ivoire decided to scrap the transaction tax altogether, but instead they decided to increase or impose a 7.5% taxes on the charges that this mobile money companies would have charged you, or whatever charges they were putting on your transaction. When you transfer money, the mobile companies, of course, take a little charge or they do a service charge. That service charge, or whatever they term it in Cote d'Ivoire, was now going to be charged 7.5%. And what ended up happening was that the telcos or the mobile money platforms were transferring these charges back to the consumers. And what that means is that if you're a consumer, either you are paying it as a direct transaction charge, which we are proposing in Ghana for 1.75, or could it be that we transition that, or we move that money, or we move that charge or that levy or that tax handle to the telcos, or increase, the taxes we already have on the telcos. Now, So, of course, when the telcos started transferring those charges to the users or the users of mobile money in Cote d'Ivoire, what ended up happening in Cote d'Ivoire was that the government went back and forced the telcos to eat those funds up. They forced the telcos to not transfer the 7.5% that they were being charged to the consumer. And so Cote d'Ivoire has a version that is now kind of the same as we are proposing, but perhaps is the version that we may need to go to. These will be questions that I pose to my viewers and listeners when they come on to the show. But if you are watching, please share the link so that others can join us and so that this conversation can be one that you participate in. Of course, we are happy to be here every week and bring you good information, well-studied information. On this program, what we try to do is to think about the issues together. We don't want to just come and spoon feed. We want you to participate. So if you have comments on the things that I'm talking about, if you know better, if you know other countries that have implemented the e-levy, please put in the comment section what the lessons are and what we can learn from that as a country in implementing our own version. Now, should we even be implementing this at all? Because, of course, when you are enacting a tax policy, you want to do what we call an incident analysis to see what the impact of that tax will have. What are the consequences of implementing such a tax policy? Have we done all those thoroughly? Are the lessons learned from Africa incorporated in our version? And I can say, yes, some of those lessons I have seen incorporated in our version, because one of the things that you saw was that we knew this tax was disproportionately impacting. Welcome to the show again, Paul. If you can hear me, say something so we know your sound is perfect. I see you on the road, Paul. How is everything going? Yes, where are you on the way to?
Yes, Alfred, I'm doing very good. I'm very grateful to be on the show today. I'll be off the road in the next 5 to 10 minutes, but okay. I'm going to give my open remarks and then I'll still be listening to you whilst I settle down and then log on my computer. Okay. I'm grateful to be here, and I hope and I believe my brother Ifa, is he on the show? You are on mute. I can't hear you.
Ifa will be joining us shortly.
Okay, we are going to look into the budget. And I believe you. We are going to speak to facts today. We're going to see how this super incompetent government has, destroyed this country of ours. Kwame Nkrumah Ghana is retrogressing under these incompetent people, and they keep on throwing dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. And we started raising the red flag since 2017, and they keep on lying. Now the lies has catch up to them. They cannot get out of the holes, and we are going to expose them this afternoon further, like we did last week. So this is my open remark. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul, for joining the show, being the first to join it, even though you're on the road. That demonstrates your commitment to the show. We really appreciate it. We are waiting for the rest of the team to join in person of Afar, Daniel, and Dr. Ofori.
I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if any of them will not join, because they know the hit start to come on them today. They know that I'm ready for them. So I will not be surprised if any of them will not join. But please, if you can call if I behind the closed door and tell him that I'm waiting for him. He should not run away from me. I'm waiting for him.
Definitely. I will reach out to FI and pass that information to him. Thank you so much. So as I was saying, I was giving examples of areas or countries that have done what we are trying to do, just to see, are there lessons that we could have learned? Are there things that we can incorporate in ours? And I've seen situations where one of the problems that we were going to face with this thing is, of course, that inclusivity, financial inclusivity that we said was a problem, because people in the rural areas who didn't have access to the banks, majority of the banks are located in the cities. If you go out of the cities, there are no banks facilities for people. But with the advent of mobile money, a lot of people are able to save money in their mobile wallets. A lot of people are able to pretty much do what a typical bank would have help them do. In other words, be part of the financial system, be able to make payments instantaneously using mobile payments, things that they couldn't do before because they didn't even have access to banking. And we know that most of those people actually are small micro transaction or transactors, or whatever they pay us or whatever they transact. Usually, it's minimal. So basically, in order to capture those group of people, or in order to not overly burden them, because we are saying that people with a lot of money have access to the banking system. So if they need to do a transfer, there are so many different ways they could do that without necessarily paying charges. Even if you look at the law the way it is currently, or the proposals, it talks about when there is a bank transfer, but it doesn't talk about a bank transactions where you are using a check to pay somebody. Now, if I'm using a check to pay somebody and a cash to pay somebody, and I don't have to pay the same taxes that I have to pay when I'm using the mobile money to pay for a transaction, then there is an equity problem. There is a horizontal equity problem. So we're going to talk about that. I would like for my guests to, help me explore the issue of equity in taxation, horizontal and vertical equity in taxation. So if you're watching, please share the link so others can view on this show. We hope that every week that you come to watch us, that you end up learning something. So at the end of today, we're going to figure out what Paul DeSoso have learned, what I have learned. I will be able to share that. I'll be sharing that with you. And you please, in the comment section, tell us what you've learned after the show or close to the end of the show, so that we can keep this conversation going. So as I was saying, so we've seen that, in order to kind of continue that inclusivity, that there is a threshold of a transaction that should be exempted from these taxes. And you could see that the government attempted to put something in the bill saying that if you do $100, 100 CD transaction a day, that you are exempted. But is that enough? So these are the questions we need to ask. Is that enough? Now, we know that the disadvantage of that is when the government increase that threshold to significantly, it is going to touch a point where, for instance, if it is only affecting $1,000 transaction, or say if you transact about $1,000 worth of transaction a day, you are the ones who get charged. In other words, the first $1,000 are exempted. What is going to happen is that volume of transaction or value of transaction can only be done with people who are wealthy or who have access to the banking system. And those people, once this tax was implemented in Uganda, those people went right out of the mobile money transfer platforms. They were not using them no more. So in this discussion, we're going to look at consequences, lessons learned from other countries, Cote d'Ivoire involved, Cote d'Ivoire, our neighbor, Malawi, as they implemented this, as they scrapped this, and Congo, where there's no direction as to who has to actually make this payment, and Uganda, where the tax is actually implemented and is currently ongoing. So those will be the things we look at in that segment of our discussion. The second segment of our discussion, we say GPRTU and a couple of other organizations went on demonstrations. Have they achieved the purpose for their demonstration? I know that Justice for Ghana, or the one that Bernard Mona is leading, according to him, is going to be a demonstration infinito, which means that there's no end time for this demonstration, that they were going to be occupying Parliament. So far, they were in Parliament on Friday. Skirmishes occurred. They were not allowed to go into the forecourt of the Parliament. Parliamentarians came outside, another prayer in this case, and I think we've also seen Nathaniel Markin came out trying to take a petition from them, but they made a claim to the fact that they wanted to visit the forecourt of Parliament to deliver their petition. That is not fair for the parliamentarians to block them outside of the People's House and refuse them entrance. And of course, I can understand from the parliamentarian standpoints too that there are all kinds of security implications, that they need to protect that area and safeguard our representatives So how long are they going to be stuck in that demonstration? Have they gotten what they wanted? Has GPRTU gotten what they wanted? GPRTU put a couple of claims down. They wanted certain taxes like the SPT and some of the petroleum levies be reduced. Are those sustainable? Can we actually reduce those petroleum levies like the ESLA, like all the other ones that we've already sold bonds on? Can we practically reduce them? So those will be some of the things that we discussed today. And the final thing that I want us to talk about today is what we refer to as the Accra Initiative. If you recall, we had a program here where we talk about the G5 Sahel countries where there has been a lot of chaos. Islamic terrorist organizations like the Al-Qaeda in Africa has taken a hold in the Sahel countries, and they're destabilizing. When I'm talking about the Sahel country, I'm talking about Niger, Sudan, Burkina, Mali, all those countries up north of us, right? And so this terrorist has been destabilizing those areas, capturing gold mines that are not properly protected, taking them over, running over villages, killing people. Recently, an attack has just occurred a week ago where about 26 police officers were killed and 40 civilians, etc., etc. So what happened was that Burkina Faso and four of the southern countries to its south, or four of its southern neighbors, in this case, Togo, Benin, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, came together to form a security pact or a security sort of architecture or network to share intelligence and to conduct operations together. Some of these operations are yielding results where they are capturing some terrorists, guns, bomb making materials, etc. And the goal of this initiative, or what we call the Accra Initiative, which was started in 2017, is to ensure that the terrorist activities, the jihadist activities, do not spill over to the neighboring southern countries of Ghana, Togo, and Benin. They've just embarked on an operations between the four countries. There have been several operations so far. They call them a name, I think it's Kaolagu or so. They've had the first, second, third, and this current one was the fourth one, where a couple of insurgents were arrested. Materials were seized, etc., etc. And this is all in an attempt to prevent, Islamists from attacking countries like Togo, Benin, and Ghana. They've already attacked Cote d'Ivoire. They've already attacked sections of Benin. So as you can see, it's just about time before we get to see something like that in Ghana too. And so the government is doing everything possible to prevent that. There is mobilization in the military. You could see Ghana had done some recruitment to beef up the military. There's been deployment to the northern part of the country to shore up our border between Ghana and Burkina Faso. So these things we'll talk about today when I return with my guests. In the meantime, I have a couple of comments here. Regina is saying, good afternoon, Alfred. Good afternoon, Regina, and thanks for watching the show week by week. You're one of our strong supporters, and we really appreciate it. Please share the link so that others who can benefit from the show can also join and benefit. Edward is watching us. Dr. Edward Ofori is saying, Ghana agenda, it's on fire. We really appreciate that. Dr. Edward Ofori is the director of ACO Radio, and we appreciate him for all his support to the show week after week. Lifetime Legacy, we're waiting for you to join. I'm going to send you the link in the meantime. Feel free to join, and then let's have a discussion for today. So I'm going to take a quick break so that I can reach out to a few of the guests to see where they are. Paul is in the studio. Lifetime Legacy, I'll get you on. I'm waiting also for Dr. Addo and Daniel to see if they will join us. But those are the topics we table for discussion today. We are talking about GPRTU demonstration and then other demonstrations that are currently ongoing in the country, either as a reaction to the budget statement that has been passed or as a reaction to other task handles and the legislative policy procedures that are causing difficulties and hardships in the country. And then also the budget itself, whether the e-levy has incorporated lessons from other African countries, and what version are we likely to see? We'll be right back to discuss the issues table.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, so I'm getting a lot of messages about my chroma key today, but it's definitely my lighting, so I'm trying to make sure I adjust this lighting to see where we are. Oh, Lord of mercy. Okay. Yeah, it's still not us working outside, I expect, but as people get to join the show, we'll get to fix that. All right. So, again, thanks for joining the show. I do have Paul joining now. So, Paul, thanks for the show. Thanks for joining. I've heard from Daniel. Daniel is outside today, so Daniel will not be able to join us. But we are joined by our Professor Acto So at least it's going to be interesting.
Dr. To is an MPP communicator, so please stop describing him as a neutral person. I beg you. He's an MPP communicator.
I don't know why you want to harass me every day like that.
Oh, Dr. To, but you are an MPP communicator. We all know you are an MPP communicator.
Not.
You speak for the MPP.
I'm not a card-bearer member. I have never been a card-bearer member. So I prefer to be.
Okay. I withdraw my statement. As a gentleman as I am, Dr. To, welcome on the show.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Todd, welcome to the show. I think I was able to fix my chroma key issue. It is because I have to just click that I have green screen. It's amazing how many things you forget, even though we do it every day. All right, so thanks for guiding me through this, Dr. Edward Ofori, who's Akko Radio director. Is in the background helping me, get my picture correct. So, Ato, welcome to the show. Last week we missed you. My understanding is, of course, you do the night shift, so you were caught up sleeping a little bit.
Yes.
So
apologies for missing last week's show.
We really were expecting your opinion on some of the things, but I think we'll be able to gather all that today since you're here with us, and we really appreciate that. So the topics I've tabled for discussions are that one, there are use cases which, of course, I think I've shared that in the background. I don't know if you had an opportunity to read through it, but we found that Uganda, Malawi, Cote d'Ivoire and Congo have done a version of what we are trying to do in Ghana in terms of e-levy. Now, what I wanted us to do is to look at some of the inequalities that are introduced by imposing taxes such as this, because of course we know that for taxes to be introduced that they really have to do incidence analysis to see how it impacts various sections of the population. So we are curious as to whether that one was, what was done for this particular one. But beyond that, whether we should actually continue with the e-levy or scrap it. And even if we are going to scrap it, that instability, that inconsistency that we introduce into the system as a result of proposing today that we are going to do A and then we are not going to do it, kind of makes people lose trust in the system. Is that helpful for us? And so should we say, because we don't want to have this forth and back proposing and taking it down, etc., so that people are encouraged or people are able to trust the consistency within the system. So the consistency, inequality, and all the impact this tax would have on the people is where I really want to focus this discussion today. So that's topic number one. Then I want us to talk about GPRTU and a couple of other demonstrations that are ongoing to see if in fact they're realizing the reasons they are demonstrating or not. Especially in the case of the GPRTU, we saw a certain decrease in petroleum prices occasioned by oil. But is that sustainable? Was that what they actually went into the demonstration for? And whether that demonstration is over or is something we are going to see again, because it has several devastating consequences for the people, especially of the big cities, Accra in this case. People were stranded walking about because, the GPRTU and the private even taxi operators were not working or operating, and that caused a lot of problems. So let me start with you, Ato, since you have not been with us last week. What is your view on the e-levy? We know Congo, when they introduced it, they came out with 1%, and then people agitated and they have to go and reduce it to 0.5. All the countries that have introduced this, all of them are with the IMF through some IMF program that is, using one of the conditionalities being that your, tax to GDP is so low, and therefore you have to increase that as part of being part of the IMF program. We are not in an IMF program. And we've also noted that all the countries that introduced it, none of them actually ventured above 1%. But Ghana actually, proposed 1.75%. So the transaction fees is a honeypot. It's one of those revenue handles that is very appealing to all governments, especially within the sub-Saharan Africa. Our tax to GDP ratio in the sub-Saharan Africa is about 15.7%. In advanced countries, about 24 to 25%. In Ghana, we have about 12.4% of tax to GDP. We are lagging even below the sub-Saharan Africa standard. We need to increase our tax to revenue. That is no-brainer. Now, how do we do that? And most governments are using the lazy approach of course, bringing the informal sector into the fold of the tax base or into the tax base by, pushing the transaction, because they believe that, of course, we know that the economy is about 60% to 80% informal, and that informal sector is responsible for about 70% of the employment. So there's a huge amount of transactions going there. It used to be that people would make calls to the United States or to other neighboring countries using the telcos and paying, and those, telecommunication transactions per se, or telecommunication calls, attracted taxes to the government. But since the advent of things like WhatsApp, telecommunication calls or calls to even overseas has significantly reduced. So the government is losing a lot of revenue. And in order to plug those holes, they believe that, taxing transactions like mobile money is a way to go. What is your view on this, and where do you think we go, considering all the examples that we've seen with our neighboring countries? And if you're interested, I could be giving you more examples of what happened in Cote d'Ivoire, what happened in Malawi, etc.
Thank you very much. And first of all, I'd like to send greetings to your cherished viewers and listeners across
Thank
the
you.
world. And greetings to Paul, although he didn't allow me to even say hi to him before he started heckling and harassing me, as always. So before I start, I mean, I am actually very surprised that the government cancelled the toll levy.
Right.
Although I don't have any data on how much they were making from the toll levy, I don't know who does that. Who cancels one kind of revenue making avenue and then brings a new one?
Yeah.
And you can sense the pushback that this government is getting. I heard you compare that of Cote d'Ivoire, where telcos try to make consumers pay for all these things, and they didn't work out, and then they had to push back all the taxes on the telcos. I think that may be the best way to go. But then you realize that in Ghana, look at how we did the Vodafone or that deal. It appears that we're giving all these companies tax breaks. And right now, like I agree with you, we have said this in the past that our economy is struggling. And Baumia promised that we're going to move from taxation to production. And here we are. I mean, 1.7%. And I was telling a friend of mine that it appears this kind of tax is bogus tax. It appears that those of us in the diaspora, we are the ones sending money home. We have easy ways to send money home. So the plan is to target us. First of all, we are paying so much money in duties at the port. We send money home. We send stuff home. We pay so much.
Right.
Now we have this amount. I mean, like I said, I don't know. It appears all of a sudden, if we don't pay this e-tax, we can't even do it in Ghana. Like everything the government's talking about, like they say, oh, we can get fertilizers. Like the economy will struggle. Alfred, do you by chance know how much we will be collecting in a year from this e-levy? I have not had the information. Do you know how much?
Together, this year we were targeting about 7 billion almost.
And do you know how much we're making from the toll levies?
The toll levy was only about 72 million. So in comparatively, the toll levy is like a drop in the bucket when it comes to what we intend to gain from the e-levy. So 72 million.
But one would think that you keep the toll levy and maybe reduce the amount you're taking from. I know you're supposed to pay tax, but then you keep the toll levy and then reduce the percentage of this e-levy. But that's not what this government has done. It's very disappointing. And like I said, Baumia is struggling to make this economy work. And we agree that, like you said, all the data on how the economy is doing is really bad. So they have to find a way to go about it. But going 1.75, like you said, in sub-Saharan Africa, everyone is paying 1%. So you would think that this government will at least find ways to make this economy work. Right now, we have all this. We have petrol prices high. We have everything is in the hardships in Ghana. It's becoming unbearable. So to add this to consumers, I don't know how they'll be able to achieve that. So my point is that the government would have to find means to collect tax from the other people, and that would include Baumia's idea of differentiation. That I know Paul would disagree with me, but that idea of putting 1.75% on consumers is not the best way to go. And like you said, in other places in Africa, they are either 1% or below. So going forward, this government will have to come up with newer ideas, better ideas about, because Ghanaians have not accepted this as what we think we can pay.
Right.
Last point, going forward, I don't know what the NDC is discussing about this. It's like today they wake up, they say, oh, 1% is maybe okay. Tomorrow they wake up, they say no. So it's like, what does the NDC want us to do? They agree that we are supposed to take taxes. So they should come up clear and discuss this, because it cannot be Haruna coming up one day and saying, okay, I thought about this and I feel this is better. But then the next day we have somebody saying, oh, I spoke to Haruna and Haruna says that right now is nothing.
It does appear that the NDC, and of course, this has been a challenge for a very long time, right? All the governments, whether NDC or MPP, pretty much wants to find ways to bring in additional revenue. And mobile monetization has been on that chopping block for a long time. It appears the MPP has the balls to do it. And the NDC is signaling that, oh, by the way, just make it 1%. You know, that's what Haruna is saying. Just make it 1%. Who would have agreed to 1%, right? So clearly, both political parties are in on this. It's a matter of what percentage do they want to charge, right? And essentially,
I agree with you. I
Yeah.
agree with you. But also, you realize that telecommunication companies have turned from providing consumers better quality service into money-making business.
right.
I mean, you call somebody in Ghana so many times you're not unable to reach them, but if you send money to them, it goes right away. It's like, what are we doing as a country to make sure these people are accountable to us? So
Right.
all of a sudden, mobile money has become the priority. And right now, if you even want to make phone calls, it's so expensive in Ghana. And
Right.
if you go to the UK, I don't think Vodafone subscribers pay as much as we pay in Ghana. But the
Right.
government has allowed them to just do whatever they want, and right now they're into the mobile money business. And like I
Right.
said, you try and send money to Ghana right now, it would never tell you that the person you're trying to send money is unavailable. But
Right.
try to make a phone call. I mean, you're giving these people a leeway for a very long time, and now it's coming back to bite us.
Right. Yeah. So I know Lifetime Legacy in the comment section is saying that the NDC's position is that no Momo tax this time. Yes, no Momo tax this time, but like we said, it is going to happen at some point, right?
Yes, yeah.
It may not be this year, it may not be next year, but Momo tax is going to be a reality in Ghana, and we have to kind of start thinking about, how this will be done, whether it should be something levied or there should be an increase in the charge that is already, because the telcos take a transaction fee already. They charge a transaction fee whenever you send money or whenever you do a Momo transaction, and that transaction fee, which is revenue to them, and the government taxes that revenue. So the question is, should the government increase that, just like they're doing in Cote d'Ivoire? And if the government increase that, then we want that next step of the government asking the telcos not to transfer that to us, so that it become a cost to the telcos. Now, it would reduce the efficiency with the telcos, because then they would have to think about certain investments that they want to make in the country to expand, and those investments will now have to be placed on the back end, and because part of their money they were, earmarking for those things, would then have to go to pay government taxes. So we can look at, lessons from the various countries, like I'm saying, to see how Ghana would, approach this. And you are like you also admitted to that the best perhaps way going forward would be the Cote d'Ivoire model, which it's a way of taxing transactions, but not directly. I have a message. I'm going to take that one quickly and see if I can bring Paul on for the same thing. So Isaac Don Willis says, build more cocoa processing factories to bring in the needed revenue. What happened to the factory started by Kufuor at Akwape Mampom? Okay, that's a good one. So he's saying, that Baumia agenda of production versus taxation should be the way we go. We should build more cocoa processing factories. And then he's asking about the one started by Kufuor. And then he also says, scrap the Momo tax. Momo tax is lazy man's approach to taxation. Yep. I think, and just to kind of stretch that point a little bit too, Dr. Addo, Paul, if you're with us, let me know so we can I can bring you into. But Dr. Addo, if you look at, because he's saying scrap it all together, right? If you look at the Momo tax,
Alfred.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here, and where I am, it's very noisy, so I have to step out and then move on back on my phone. Okay. So I'm going to make my quick intervention and submission, and then maybe we'll take it from there.
Okay, you can come in and make an intervention before, I wanted to talk about. I was going to start stretching what Isaac said here about abolishing the tax altogether. But the way I wanted to position it is, if you look at the digitization agenda that we are embarking on, you need a readily available way of transacting business, because we're trying to bring all these informal sector activities to the formal sector. All the shoe shine persons that are able to receive money using Momo, we want to bring them to the formal sector. And the one readily available way to surely do so is how easily they are able to make payments for those transactions that perhaps are taxable transactions that we should find a way to tax. But, imposing tax on that platform currently kind of hinder our effort to increase inclusivity and broaden the base, so that the consequence of what we are trying to do is actually going to be way more negative than the benefit we will derive from it. What do you think about that, Paul?
Well, do you hear me, please?
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
Okay, so well, as I stated last week on the show, okay, the 1.75 electronic levy that was introduced in this budget was the laziest man approach ever to tax the people.
Right.
Why am I saying so? Look, we are saying that Ghana is heading to economic crunch, okay? Due to the way they've mismanaged the economy since they took over.
Right.
It's been a fact, and it's been a fact too, that since from 2017, 2018, we've been saying that the finance minister and the Nana Akuffo government have been cooking the books with figures, whereby they supply us with a different figures, and when they go to the IMF, they give IMF a different figure.
Okay.
Now, the issue at stake is, how come economy, which Dr. Baumia touted in 2019, 2020, that is the best economy in the whole of West Africa, in the whole of Africa, actually, should be in this crisis? Mr. Muzo, whether they like it or not, okay, this electronic tax that they are trying to impose is the laziest man approach ever. Now, let's look at the figures. This e-levy that they are trying to introduce, according to the finance minister's own budget statement, they are going to recoup 6.9 billion Ghana cedi if they introduce this tax.
Right.
And per the document that, or per the budget statement, when you look at is it Appendix AB, they stated that the mechanism by which they are going to collect these taxes is going to cost the taxpayer 421 million Ghana cedi. Do the calculation. Already, the 6.9 billion that they are expecting to get from these taxes, 421 million is out of it.
Right.
Now, the question I have over here is number one.
I thought it was 240.
Why are they going to pay another company to be taking these taxes for the government of Ghana, even if we agree to it?
I think Dr. Addo was trying to ask a question. Dr. Addo, we didn't hear what you were saying. What did you say?
I thought that amount was 240, not 420.
Oh, so okay, 240. Thank you. 242 million. It's 242, right?
Yeah,
so.
242.
Yes, 242 million. Yes, 242 million. Yes.
Right.
The question I have over here is, why are they going to get a company to do nothing, and that company will be taking home 242 million Ghana cedi? What's Calvi GVG, this company that we have raised a lot of issue about, is there to do this job? What is the difficulty about collecting these taxes? Assuming we even agree that it should go in, which I know is only going to pass, because we in the minority are saying that they should review that electronic taxes, because the way they want to implement it is not the best way. It's the shortest and the laziest man approach ever. But I'm saying, assuming, look, this electronic tax will be collected by the mobile company, the telcos. And the question is, as we speak, NCA, National Communication Authority, okay,
Mm-hmm.
is able to monitor KVGVG, who monitor all the calls, all the transactions that these communication companies do. So
Right.
why are you going to pay another company to come and monitor what? That's the first thing, which is making this deal a very shady deal.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, they are saying that they are going to recoup 6.9 billion at the end of the process. But Mr. Muzu, the question lies here. We in the minority is saying, or we are saying that, look, since this government took over from the affairs of this country, the tax irregularities, okay? If we say tax irregularities or revenue irregularities, we are trying to say that since they took over, I mean, the loopholes whereby people try to take money that does not belong to them, that does not belong to them, and then try to be smart on the government, has risen up over 1,000%. At the time the NDC was handing over, it's around 700 and something million. As we speak today, we are having at the Auditor's General Report, we had 12.84 billion Ghana cedis.
Right.
If you are looking for 6.9 billion, and you are allowing people to, I mean, beat the system, you are allowing people to, I mean, manipulate the system, and all this money is going to waste. Why can't you tighten the system rather,
right,
to reduce this excessive waste, to cut the 12.84 billion Ghana cedi that is going waste, and bring it down? Why can't you do that to get the money you want over there?
right.
Upon imposing taxes upon the common Ghanaian, you are coming to introduce another 1.75 odd electronic tax. This is unacceptable. I heard Dr. Atu was talking about, and the NDC, they don't know the stand of the NDC stand is that until we sit on the table and we all come into an agreement, there is nothing like e-levy.
What is that? What is the agreement? What is the agreement?
Yeah,
we are not in the agreement with them.
What is the NDC's what is the NDC proposing? What are you guys bringing to the table? What do you guys want to see done?
In the first place, Alfred and Dr. Ato, we will be able to come on the table if they are ready to sit on the table for us to look into the deal. As we speak, our members of parliament have made it clear, categorically clear, that there is nothing on such a table about we agreeing on any percentage. We've not agreed on any percentage because as or where we stand as we speak, that budget that they claim they've passed has been thrown away. We've not finished that. We've not caught that bridge yet. You are coming here to tell us that there is, I mean, the Minister of Finance has come with, I mean, concession that he's going to change some documents in the budget. Then that is a new budget you are presenting. So therefore, then let's go back and start the process again. So as we speak, the minority has no stand, and Haruna is not contradicting the other members of parliament. We are speaking with a one voice. We are saying that there is no way we'll allow this electronic levy to pass. Even at all, if we are going to allow it to pass, not now. They should go back and block the revenue leakages. The 12.84 billion that we are losing or we lost in 2020, we should block it and make sure that we go after those people, whether they are NDC, MPP, CPP, whoever they are. We should go after them and get all those monies back to the state. And they can get the 7 billion that they are looking for. And you know what? When you look into the budget also, these people are very deceptive. They throw dust into our eyes. According to them, they are going to raise 1 billion out of that 6.9 billion to support youth entrepreneurship. But when you go into the same budget, okay, appendix page 22233, they stated that the youth entrepreneurship, no, this is the amount they are going to invest into it. Let me give the right number. I don't want Dr. Atu to quote me again. 385 million, 88. 385 million is the money they've allocated in the budget. But the minister stated that they are going to give them 1 billion. And when the minister's attention was drawn, he said the rest of the 600 and something million will be sourced from the from the business community. How sure are you that those money you can get them from the business community?
Okay.
You see, this budget is full of contradiction, mistakes, inconsistencies. And even if you add all the figures over there, there's a big loophole in this budget. And if you can permit me, I will give you or submit it to you right now. Look, as we speak, okay, we are talking about revenues that the Ghana country is generating. Let's also put it on record that when you go, or these people will tell you that it's because of COVID, that is why they are running in a high deficit. It is not true.
Right.
Dr. Addo, that is not true. Look, when you look at the deficit report for Africa, okay, as we speak, okay, as 2018, Ghana's deficit was minus 6.8, the highest on the continent. 2019, it shoot to minus 7.2. 2020, it shoot to 15.7, minus 15.7. So for them to be blaming COVID, that is an outlier. It is not true.
Right. Yeah, I want us to. I know the deficit is a problem, and it's one of the factors that, of course, is motivating tax handles like this. Because, of course, we have to find find domestic resources. By the way,
Alfred, let me land over here. Let me do this quick intervention.
Okay.
According to the own minister's budget, also, okay. They are saying that the total revenue that they are expecting to collect for the 2021-2022 year is 100 million, 500 billion, 516 million, 846,109.
Yeah,
okay.
We've never done that number before.
That number before, yeah. So you see how crazy these people are. And out of this 100 million, when you look at compensation, okay, compensation alone, okay, it's going to take 35 billion 814,237 million 237,277 Ghana cedis.
Right.
Interest rate and amortization is going to cost us 45 billion 390 million.
We
blah
know
blah blah.
We know those challenges, right?
You see, when you talk about the statutory payment, let me finish. 31 billion. When you add all this thing, Mr. Alfred, we are hitting around 113 billion Ghana cedi. And you say you're going to rate a revenue of 100 million. Already you are making a loss of 12 billion deficit already.
Well, we know even the budget tells you the expenditure is going to be more than our expenditure is about 115 billions, and we are bringing in 100. Therefore, we of course know we are creating a gap even in the budget clearly stated, and therefore we needed additional funding. And we said we are going to go for $750 million in loan in one tranche, and then we reserve the right to do a second tranche in the future. Welcome to the show, Alpha. But what I wanted to say,
can I respond to what Paul said in a second, please?
Okay, take a quick seconds and respond to that, and then we go on.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Paul said it was a lazy man's approach, just by taxing Momo. But like you said, right. You said in Sub-Saharan Africa, we've seen this. But I want to remind Paul that in this country we had a finance minister who taxed condoms. It's called. Does Paul remember all those things?
Right.
Setepe tax condoms.
Dr. Addo, if you care to know,
do you remember that? Do you remember that? I'm just saying that.
I've not said I don't remember it. I am saying
if you remember, that's fine. Let me
if
land.
You care to know,
if you
care to know, condoms have been increased by 50%.
Let me land. The second point and last point that I want to say is that this is a proposed budget.
Right.
So if I tell you that I'm going to spend X amount of money, because I think I probably will be making this money elsewhere using the e-tax. I think it's fair to say that we can, because there's nowhere in Ghana where we propose the amount of money we're going to spend that it has been accurate. It may be close. So it's only a proposed budget. You cannot just say that just because.
Usually we get close enough to that by the end of the year.
Yes, but I'm saying that the government is...
Mostly we overspent the expenditure portion, or we spend more than we say we are going to spend for. We are going to spend.
Yes.
But when it comes to revenue, we under-generate.
Yes.
Which has been the case all over the years. But I wanted to say that on the back of this, the president has been...
Alfred, I think it's fair for Alfred.
Yeah,
I think it's fair for me to rebuttal back to Dr.
Yeah, let me preface that first. Okay. On the back of this, the president has been given or be crowned the African of the Year. And the reason he was crowned for being an African of the Year is his approach to reliance on resources apparently domestically generated, which I'm confused when it comes to that, right? Yes, praising our president for pushing the initiative for self-reliance. And, you know, here we are. That self-reliance requires us to generate a lot of domestic revenue. We know that we've moved out of the poverty. We are now a middle income. So the donations are not coming in as they used to. We want to rely on income generated domestically. Part of that is finding ways to actually increase our revenue. If you look at us compared to the OECD countries, right, in terms of PIT, which is the personal income tax, and CIT, which is corporate income tax. For instance, for us, PIT represents 16.3% of all taxes collected. For CIT, which is the corporate income tax, is about 14.6%. When you go to the advanced countries, 24.2% is their PIT. And then, which means their personal income taxes is, 24.2%. 8.9% comes from their, corporate income tax. What it means is that they have a lot of workers in their tax nets. In Ghana, we also do have a lot of workers, but those workers happen to fall outside of the formal sector. So that the small number in the formal sector, we are overtaxing them. If you look at the expression, even that if you ask the teacher right now, or you ask workers in Ghana now, they'll tell you that they are overtaxed. They are the only ones burdening the burden of development in the country. That there are so many people in the informal sector that are now paying their fair share of the development cost. What do you say to that as your response?
Well, Mr. Muzu,
I thought it's my turn.
He's just gonna do a quick rebuttal for two minutes, and then I'll bring you in for 5 minutes.
Yes. So, Mr. Muzu, before we go on, look, let Dr. Addo understand that as we speak, condom has been off from 2020. When you're going to buy condom, okay, it will be increased by 15%. So if he's sitting there and he's saying that the NDC put taxes on condom, this super incompetent government has even increased it more by 15%, going to 2022, 1st January 2022. When you are going to buy a condom, if it's costing you two cedis, you're going to add 15% on the 2 cedis. So if you care to know, that's number one. Number two, look,
so
that award you are talking
about is still there.
Yeah, the award you are talking about is a fake award. It has turned out that the president was never awarded. That institution is a fake institution. So for the president just to divert attention,
this same institution awarded the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame.
Documents have come out. Documents have come out. We've done a lot of checks, and it is showing that it's fake. They bought it. They bought it. So this president, anytime he sees that the country is agitating against the things he's doing, he tried to introduce something to look good. I am saying that I am not going to even waste my time to speak about this fake award because it is not true. He bought it. He went and paid money. Gabi and Co went and pay money for this thing to be created as if he's been given an award. The award is not true. And if one knows, Dr. Addo knows, they should not come and sit here and try to throw dust into the eyes of the listeners. It's a fake
We're
award.
gonna be
I'm not going to waste my time on it.
from they bought it is fake and all that because we don't have any proof to that. That is your opinion,
Mr. Amuzu. I can send a document. There is documents circulating. People have called the institution. The institution is saying that they know nothing about that. You understand? A lot of research is going on.
Africa is saying they know nothing about the award.
Yes.
Then how come we have accumulate the
look, this is Photoshop. This is Photoshop.
Icon.
Did you look at the background of those two pictures? Look at the backgrounds. This is Photoshop.
But we've seen the president even if you go to Joy Online right now, the president actually been giving the award himself, like receiving the plaque.
Mr. Amuzu, I said this is fake. They faked it just to divert attention. That's all they are doing.
Yeah, that's a strong allegation.
I'm not going to waste my time to talk about it.
I don't know about that, but we'll look into it. Okay, so on the issue of the fact that we don't have a lot of taxpayers within our personal income tax brackets. The businesses we have in the country are burdening most of the shares. If you look at business tax in Ghana, you will cry for them. The businesses, like for instance, the telcos are crying. Even if you look at the case studies we've mentioned, Uganda, Malawi, with the exception of Malawi, but Uganda, Congo, Ivory Coast, MTN is, one of the mobile network operators in all those countries. MTN is in each of those countries. They are either partnering with Airtel in the country or with another. I think there's Orange or so is a new company, another company they have in Malawi partnering with Airtel. So there's either Airtel or MTN. So I'm wondering, why is Airtel not sharing lessons learned from all these other countries with the government of Ghana? Because it feels like the government of Ghana is repeating the mistakes that have been made in Uganda. It's repeating the mistakes that have been made in Ivory Coast. And they could have learned those lessons and introduce these things in a better way that avoid those mistakes. Why do you think that MTN is not sharing this lessons learned for us to use?
Because this government is known to be a 419 government. They never listen or take advice. They are always ready to throw dust into the eyes of the people. And I am saying on this show this afternoon that, look, the things they told us in opposition, the way they bragged when they were in opposition, now they said they have the men. They got themselves into government. They noticed that it's not easy. It's different being in opposition and different being in government.
All right.
And now, instead of them coming down to seek support and seek advice from the opposition and then the private sector and the CSOs, they are feeling very reluctant. And they are still having the same people committing the same mistakes over there. As you said, what stops them from going to all these countries to learn from them, to learn the lessons from them? They just want to do what they want to do. Nana Addo is a president who is meant to be a president. That is the sort of person he is. At the time that we are in crisis, he is renting a $14,000 jet an hour and go and sleep in an $18,000 luxurious hotel in Atlanta just last week. And you are expecting your people to tighten their belt? I am saying this government is the most incompetent government, the most, visionless government we've ever had. They would not be able to come down to the level to ask for help because they think they know, but they are a bunch of useless people who don't know anything, and they are going to crunch the economy down until the economy crash. That's what's going to happen. I wish it doesn't crash because we are coming back into government in 2025, January 7th, and we hope they will not crash the economy before we get there. Thank you.
Okay. So there's been so many lessons learned. We hope those would have been incorporated. We know that, for instance, when you charge a tax, that requires two different people who are transacting the same business, but one pays a different amount than the other. That introduces a horizontal inequity. What that means is that if you and I make $50, we should pay the same amount of taxes on it, taking into consideration all the other differentials that may be between us, whether I'm a disabled person or not, etc., that is recognized by the tax law. But this particular tax seem to violate that inequity or the equity thing that we are discussing. Because if I were to be, paying with a check or cash, I don't have to pay 1.75% on any transaction. It introduces inequity, and somebody should be in court for this. Why do you think the opposition is not going to court, but doing the regular judge thing?
Yeah, thank you very much, Alfred, and thanks to greetings to Atto and Paul. You see, we have to be honest with ourselves, and sometimes I'm forced to do this because if we're going to go to the normal politics and you this, you that, we're not going to go anywhere. Right. I don't think they did not take into consideration all that you're talking about. They did take into consideration. What specifically went into it, I cannot say it right. Here is my thinking. So budget, just as Dr. Atto said, they are proposals, right? So when the budget comes, what I am expecting to see or hear from the opposition was an alternative. Uh-huh. But we don't even know what they are. You see, Paul is talking about help. What help? What has the opposition offered so far apart from a no approach to the issue, right?
Well, the opposition you said you bring it in concession, but you haven't brought the concession. They don't know what you're revising and what you're not revising, so they don't know what to come to the table with. You have to. They told you initially that certain specific things like provide for Kitasi defense. You say you're going to do that. They ask you for changing, the language you had incorporated in the budget about the ECA deal. You say, sure, you're going to fix that. They say,
yes, and
Ajapa should be removed. You say, I don't know, what was the position on Ajapa? No, or we are removing it. So those things that you're claiming you have as concessions, you haven't really put them on the table yet for them to come back with a different position.
But that's not true. So they've put all those things at the committee level to be discussed and then come to an agreement on that. Now, so if the government has proposed 1.75, right? If you say no, what is it that you are proposing? What is it that you think as opposition that is good for us, right? Now, we've been hearing conflicting whatever. The minority leader came to tell us one thing, and then later on they said no, that is not representing their position, and that they are opposed to the e-levy, blah 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 blah, and all that kind of stuff, right? I have not heard the government not saying they wouldn't do anything about the Kitasi defense war, the Ajapa. As for withdrawing the Ajapa, the government said it will not withdraw it. It wants, inputs into what specifically ACA. They made some whatever. I mean, Okujeto listed this on his page and stuff like that. So what is the percentage the opposition is proposing? For what I heard, it's a no approach. A no approach is not an option at this point in time, right? We can learn all the lessons and push it in there. But I haven't heard your opposition.
Why no, not an option? Because I mean, the no's seem to have it right from even if you look at the report that we all read from the GSMA, which is the professional association for the telcos. They thought, when you are digitizing and revolutionizing your economy in order to take advantage of the fourth industrial revolution, that accessibility of payments and ease of payment is very key for all the digital. Yeah. So
the telcos are already charging 1%. So what makes them think that the government cannot charge a certain percentage? What makes them think?
Yeah, the telcos are charging 1%, but
and the telcos don't even have a threshold. You see, government is charging 1% from 101 upwards daily, right? But the telcos don't even have a threshold. So what advice is the telcos giving us? You see, and then that is one thing. The second thing is for us, looking like you quoted, right? For us to have a decreasing borrowing power as we seek self-reliance, it should have a decreasing borrowing availability and all these kind of stuff. So
Right.
if we say no, and then you are also demanding that it's going to be an additional money, where should we go pick this money from the opposition? So all these things don't really add up when you hear some of these things. It is like some of them are talking just because they just feel like they should oppose it. The Tokos are making all these things because they think that somehow their revenues are going to reduce because maybe there will be that pushback of people trying to do it the other way, which we all have envisaged. But we will see. You see, all these things are part of the whole thing. So for you to, and I've always been saying, see, the opposition will say blah 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 blah. But what is your option? What would you have done? And we've seen this in the past. You oppose, you get in there and you increase it, right? So there is a need for us to have that honest conversation of, maybe I would have gone for 0.5. Maybe I would have gone for 1%. But
so
we don't know what they're proposing. And I'm now hearing the good advice. Which good advice have you heard, Alfred? Have you heard the good advice from the opposition apart from we won't accept?
Well, that we won't accept is a good advice, right? Because the benefits that would be derived from not putting that tax in place, which is the increasing effect of people transacting business, enabling digital growth in our economy, it's gonna outweigh the inconvenience of, first of all, asking the telcos to collect this money on your behalf, because they would have to do the collection on your behalf. Then the second inconvenience of people who would get out of the payment platform, because if you look at what happened in Uganda, the poorest of the people actually just got out of the mobile money transaction completely, because what you see is, Marafa, the people who have money, who have access to banking already, they completely got out of the mobile money transactions, leaving only the poorest of the poor who have to burden that, or who have to burden that taxes. So what you see is you are causing a lot of inconvenience, not only to the government itself, who have to now find ways to actually monitor this, collect and account for this, but you're also inconveniencing the telcos, you're inconveniencing the citizens who will now have to resort to cash if they want to avoid these things. There are donor agencies that work with refugees, that work with several different organizations. And what is happening is that whenever you ask somebody to send you money, they're asking you to add that additional 1.75%. That was what was realized in countries like Uganda. If you do a transaction with somebody, they tell you that if you're going to pay with mobile money, you have to add the additional taxes that they would have to burden. So that is so much inconvenience and inefficiencies you're introducing into a system as a government who's trying to grow an economy. It doesn't work like that. You should be facilitating businesses rather than crippling them with the result from places like Uganda and Congo also shows that majority of the agents actually left completely. And some of these agents, that is their employment. We have about 20,000 registered agents in Uganda who completely left that space because it was no longer profitable for them. And we are the same people who are crying about using this levy to support employment. In other words, the levy is going to kill employment. It's going to, take people who are now agents out of employment. So what we are saying is it's even a better option, or it's even a better, that's what we mean by it's a better proposal to actually just, pull out of it. Organizations reputable who are in the industry, even in Uganda, the telcos, MTN and Co, supported the pulling out of that taxes. And I'm sure they are in Ghana as well, but they are just silenced because, of course, we know what is happening in Ghana now.
Yeah, thank you. That is a good thing to be taken into consideration. But it is not a case of once you said it, yours has to be taken and the other one put on the side. All have been factored. That is why, when it comes to Ghana, there are so many exemptions in our collection, in our collection bracket. Remittances, agents won't be taxed. There's a list of it, And as we go along, there are so many things that have been taken out. And so we are doing something a bit different from what used to pertain in those countries. And until we put it into use, we are going to talk, and then we will know what will actually be on the ground. And we've also done a good job in Ghana of, we roll it out and see what is in there, and then we can take some out, or the challenges that come, we can come back to the table and deal with that. So,
but that kind of adds uncertainty to the system, and uncertainty is not good for a tax regime. Tax regimes need to be predictable, so we know what taxes I'm paying at businesses. But when taxes change today and tomorrow, I don't trust the system. It breeds a lot of underground.
So Amuzu, the truth of the matter is that the Ghanaian taxpayer has been honest, has been supportive of the system. So all these things, yes, overburden, yes. But the other aspect, I will not really buy them. So what we need to do as a country is to widen it, which is one of the things that they're going to do. And some of these big corporations that are getting all these exemptions, we bring them on board to also pay some taxes, because one company, and so all these things are in the budget, and we seem to have blocked and just looking at just the percentage and stuff like that. So as far as the percentage is concerned, and like I said last week, let us all come to an agreement. The opposition were going to go for a 1%. Government was going to go for like 1.5%. And, we go, and then we come to a point. But when we are at deadlock, I don't want it at all and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we cannot. When we all have admitted that we're borrowing too much, there's the need for us to leapfrog our development in some areas, infrastructure and employment especially. And we need to come up with an aggressive way as we seek to do the other things that will cushion all of us, which is the industrialization that we're talking about, the production that we're talking about. Once we have not gotten there, this is the option we have. But we all agree. I perfectly agree with you that, the same people are being taxed over and over again, and there's the need for us to work. And this is where we are going to need all of us to come on board with all these ideas and say, okay, so let's do it this way, and not this thing of no. You see, the people that are saying no, they will, if they get the opportunity to come, you see, they will slap it there, bam, on that. So much on that, Okay. Let me talk quickly on the award. You see, when Kagame was awarded, I did not hear any fake thing.
Right.
I did not hear fake stuff. Now, what I'm hearing, people, is the normal, let us vilify our own, let us destroy our own, because, for purposes of politics and stuff like that. Now, I'm hearing Paul say fake, and I'm hearing, is it Buama? One of their former ministers saying, "Oh, even was it? What is the guy's name? He poured something. He also got awarded. The truth of the matter is, an award has come, and as Ghanaians, we should be proud of that, And then pin our leaders to, letting them deliver, so that the Ghana Beyond Aid, we see it not as rhetoric but as a practice, and that we are moving towards that challenge. And I see this budget as in there. And mind you see, these people don't just take award based on what somebody is saying. They have researchers and they have people they consult. And there's a whole bunch of people that they consult, and then they decide that we're going to give it to this person or that person. So if it is coming to Ghana, let us embrace it. Let us, ask our leaders to do more and more for us, so that the citizens will get the fruit of their leadership. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's transition to GPRTU and the Justice for Ghana demonstration that we witnessed this week. We also saw yesterday a demo in Sunyani and one in Agape, pretty much over roads not being properly constructed, or the fact that their roads are in bad shape. Now, the question I have on this particular one, and I'm going to start with Atto quickly, and then we'll come to Paul, because I know Paul wants to leave. But Atto, the question I
want to drop. Can I just do this quick submission so that I can leave, please?
Okay. Okay. So
Atto, I hope you allow me to do that, please.
Of course.
Okay.
Give us time.
But you can't go. You have to wait. We all get things to do. You have to be here.
I'll be listening to you on Facebook. I'm sorry, I have to drop. I always try to be here. Today you got on the show after 1 hour when the show have started. Anyway, so my brother Ifa is being very professional today, and I like it.
Right.
The only mischief he tried to play was he was asking So what is the alternative? Or is the minority giving?
Paul, let me add my question so you can hurry up with the two, right?
Sure.
I want you to respond, but also answer this. So the GPRTU went in trying to get some reductions in taxes. They want some reductions in the XLR, SPT, and etc., etc. The reason being that, it's imposing a lot of hardship on the people. And for once, I am impressed that a GPRTU, which is a trade union organization, is able to pull this off, is able to show that they can actually, again, embark on an impactful demonstration and get the government listening and come to the negotiation table. My understanding is the government pulled the executives of GPRTU into, the Jubilee House and negotiated with them. And part of that negotiation, which again was denied after the fact, was that the government says the only company that they really had control over is GOIL. And because government is about, I think, 50% share owner, that they would, convince GOIL to reduce the prices, which GOIL did the next day. We saw about 15 pesos.
Yeah, 15 pesos. Yeah, you are on mute after. Okay.
So we can go ahead.
Yeah, so quick one. As I said, my brother Ifa has been very professional last week and today. I don't know where he slept. I'll definitely call his wife and tell his wife he should give him the food he gave him every Saturday so that when he comes, he'll be speaking the truth. And I like that. The only mischief he tried to play was he was asking what are the alternative is the minority giving about this e-levy. To generate that money, we know taxes is what we use to rule a country. Of course, we agree to that. We are saying that we can recoup those money, or that money can be recouped if the president stops renting a jet for $14,000 an hour, if the president stops sleeping in a hotel for $18,000 a night, and come down to a level whereby an ordinary person will spend all those money can be saved.
Paul, those are not solutions. They are
solutions. They are solutions. Me, Dr. Addo, they are solutions. The president is renting a jet for $14,000 an hour. Calculate if he sits on that jet for 3 days. Do you know how many millions of dollars that money is? So don't tell me it's not a solution. It's a solution. He should stop renting private jets and rather cut the code according to his size, because we have a jet that is sitting there. And there was a question posed in Parliament this week, whereby the Minister for Foreign Affairs stated categorically there have been 6 different African leaders who have used the jet. What is stopping him from using the jet that other African leaders are using? So don't tell me it's not a solution. It's a solution. Number 2, they should cut down on the expenses. When the president is going to commission a toilet, you have over 25 V8 following him. They should cut all those expenses and cut the code according to our size. Those are some of the ways that they can cut down on expenses and get money to move the economy. Now, with the award, I am saying that it is coming out. So for me, I'm not going to comment about it until I am convinced that that award was not bought with the help of Ifa and Gabi Ochidako and the rest. If they didn't work behind the scenes to buy that award for the president, I'm waiting. I am saying for now, it's fake, and I don't acknowledge it. But if it turns out and we investigate and everything comes that it's a genuine award, why not? I will be very gentleman to come and then say congratulations to you. But he doesn't deserve it anyway. The president does not deserve that award because he is the most wicked president ever on the continent of Africa as we speak. Now, let me move up to the GPRT issue. It is so sad. As you said, you see the power of the GPRTU, that association. When they went on strike for just 4 hours, the whole nation came to a standstill. Now, this government will tell you there's nothing they can do, but when it got to the critical point, they were able to manipulate GOIL for GOIL to reduce petrol by 15 cents. That is a lot of implication. The implication over here is that then there's a lot of things government can do about the prices of petrol. And the GPRTU, they should hold this government to on its promises. They promised them that next year they will introduce other bills in Parliament to take some of the taxes off the petroleum product. We are hoping it's going to happen. We are hoping it's going to go through. Now,
all right,
we talk about the demonstration at the Parliament House of Ghana.
Right.
Look, this demonstration, what's the genesis of the demonstration? It's all bothered about this killer budget that has been introduced by IFA and Dr. Atto's government. Those people went on demonstration because Dr. Atto and IFA's government have introduced a killer budget which is suppressing the people in Ghana, and just for the president to sit in a 14,000 high jet to be flying in the sky and taking a shower without not thinking about the common individual and the way our brothers and sisters are suffering back home in Ghana. So they went on demonstration. They are saying that the e-levy should be scrapped, the tax should be thrown, the budget should be thrown away, and they are not going to be accept 0.0001% of this killer e-levy tax that is being introduced. So they presented their petition to the leadership. We are waiting, and just to serve a notice, next week is going to be an interesting week in Parliament, and next 2 weeks, because Speaker Gbagben is coming back, and we are going to see what is going to happen. Because as we speak, we in the minority, and most of Ghanaians know this budget has been thrown out. We have no budget as we speak. IFA and Dr. Atto's government and party have Nicodemously uses some clauses to do away with the budget that has been rejected to let it pass. We are saying, as we speak, the e-levy that the finance minister said he is going to make concessions. As we sit here, Dr. Atto and IFA do not even know what is the government saying, what is the government proposing, whether the government is still standing by the 1.75 or the government has come down to 1.5. We don't know. We are saying that until the government sits with us, okay, for us to look into this thing, for us all to come into agreement with all the stakeholders, including the CSOs, including the churches, including individuals and the grassroots, we will not accept this budget today. We will not accept this budget tomorrow. We are not nation reckless. I heard my good friend Ifa is saying that we are trying to hold the nation to ransom. We are not going to do that. We are rather doing the will of the people. The people want us to make sure that this budget does not pass with the e-levy. And that's exactly what we are doing. So for me, it's not a surprise to me that GPRTU and all these people are standing. Now let me come to the demonstration in Sunyani and other part of Accra. Yes, they stated that 2020 was a year of road. 2021 was a year of road. They've deceived the people of Ghana. No road constructions are not going on. Contractors are not being paid. They've all run away from site. And you think the common Ghanaian will lead them to go scot-free? You cannot have your egg and eat it. They lied to the people of Ghana that they are going to construct roads. Now the people are demanding the road, and they are saying that the NDC is behind it. I heard one of the demonstrations in Sunyani. They were saying that the NDC is behind it, which is very, very shameful. Oh. Are we trying to say that those people don't have the brains to take decisions for themselves? People are demonstrating because they have bad rules. And for us to fix the rules, they've rather abolish the road toll. And I don't know what they are trying to do. So for now, I know my good brother Ifa, he drives when he goes to Ghana. I drive when I go to Ghana. When I go and I'm going to do my roadworthy, if roadworthy is costing me 200 Ghana cedi, it's going to increase by 15%. That's what I'm going to pay.
Right.
And how many people have cars in Ghana?
Okay, good. How many people have cars in Ghana? Let's take the same question to, and if you can hang out with us for a little bit, we'll be very appreciative. Or
I'm going to listen to it. I want to make sure it doesn't play any propaganda mischief.
Right. So
I will bring him back. I will bring him back, if he leaves.
Yeah, please stay with us. Maybe today we're trying to be out of here at least in about by 4:15 maximum. Which means in the next 20 minutes. So let me go to Atto on this one. Atto, we've seen these demonstrations, they happen all the time, and then they end up and we don't see anything happening. In the case of Bernard Mona, he was going to go sleep in Parliament. I hope he's still sleeping there at this point. I think they missed a fine opportunity when the parliamentarians came to them to take their petition, and they told the parliamentarians, we wanted to come to the forecourt of the Parliament House and you wouldn't allow us, and therefore we are not giving you the petition. And in my mind, again, as a demonstrator, you should also take into consideration the security implications of what you're asking for. You are asking to go. You are marching on Parliament. I'm sure Akuffo Addo is in the Jubilee House talking about what in the world are these people thinking? I mean, you are there wearing a Luther Continuo, red beret and everything, marching on Parliament, demanding that you are taken to the forecourt. What happens when you go to forecourt? People are rowdy. Of course, there are police presence there, but for the safety and security of other people, I think our demonstrators and the planners of such events should also take into consideration security and the continuation of the country. You want to demonstrate, but at the same time, we don't want to stop the country from operating. All right, this is not you don't have guns, we know that, but we can't allow the few people to disrupt a whole parliament that way. So I feel like there's a lost opportunity in being able to register their grievances, at least present what it is that they are mad about to the government to answer to. So it all fits into how all these demonstrations happen, including the GPRT ones. You know, they put them to the Jubilee House, make promises to them, unsustainable promises, because what prevents gold from increasing the price as the international prices continue to go up? So there are so many things we need to take into consideration as we go into these demonstrations and be clear on what we want, so that we are not quickly wiggled out of those demonstrations without us getting the purpose for which the demonstrations are started. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I really admire the GPRTU demonstration. I put on my status last week that in the history of Ghana, I've never seen a demonstration where there's been swift action before.
Mm-hmm.
And they done it in a fashion that it's never been done before. There were no parading on the streets of Accra.
Mm-hmm.
All they had to do was clear the area, get some football, get some goalposts, and try to play.
Right.
And interestingly, like I said, in our history, we've seen demonstrations where people even die. So you would think that GPRTU has now shown the way that going forward, we know what we want.
Withdrawal services.
Withdrawal services. Don't even make noise about it. Don't even get placards. Because in the past, we've seen, like you said, they tried to even go to Parliament to go sleep over there. And nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Within 4 hours, people shared this news. It went viral. I don't know who
I don't necessarily think it is even the viral nature of it. It is that the town came to a standstill. There's nothing happening. People can go nowhere.
It did. So I'm tweeting to all in Sandry that these days there's no point in going on parades. No. Teachers, if you don't want to teach, you go to school and you have problems, get football, play on the fields. Get one of the yes, because you see the impact of this demonstration. The government was like taken aback, and it took within 4 hours, and the president actually invited people to Flagstaff how to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot disregard the fact that these days there's hardship everywhere in the world.
Right.
You cannot discount COVID. But in our country, Ghana, it's even more so because if you increase petroleum prices, it affects everything in our country. Unlike over here in the US, where petroleum doesn't affect every commodity. So, in a nutshell, I'm saying that the GPRTU demonstration was the most effective demonstration I've ever seen.
Right.
And like you said, I think government has 40% sort of stake in that. They were able to reduce that. How I don't know. Let me go back to Sunyani. I know Sunyani. I'm from Sunyani. I lived in Sunyani, and I attended elementary school. I have family back in Sunyani.
Okay.
Sunyani is a very beautiful town with beautiful people. They voted for the MPP for a very long time. Very long time. And
the World Bank.
In the development.
Right.
I mean, if you go take a look at the park or stadium they have over there, it's appalling.
Mm-hmm.
And I live close to the airport. The airport is very small. It's like you wouldn't even think that. I don't even know how to describe the airport. But all they talk about is, we're going to renovate this, we're going to rehabilitate this. It's like you wouldn't see anything substantial in Sunyani, although they voted for these people. So there was a frustration for a long time that people in Sunyani have witnessed. That although they vote for MPP, they come in power, they just talk about lip service. They say, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to rehabilitate. How long can the people of Sunyani just stay aloof and watch the government come and tell them, we're supposed to come and build a new station over here. but COVID time, the Chinese contractor passed away because of COVID. Like they come up with flimsy excuses, just using the COVID as an excuse for everything. Alfred, this, like I'm saying, the MPP government is not doing so well. We can talk about COVID all we want, but look at all the demonstrations going on. But I'm not saying that, because if I compare that to the NDC, we saw the teachers go on strike. So it's nothing new to Ghana. The only thing I was telling my friend is that Bawumia promised us a Ghana which will be made of heaven. But right now we're in the hardship. So I don't see this to be anything new.
Right.
The difference is that someone promised us that he's going to come change everything. He's going to come change, make everything like heaven. And right now we are not seeing that. So the frustration is growing and growing every day. So I want the government to I agree with Paul when he says that the government have to find ways to cut expenditure. I think that's part of the problem.
Right.
But I wish that he has talked about ways to make money, because you cannot talk about deficit, you cannot talk about GDP, and not talk about ways to generate money.
I mean, they even talked about ways to make money when they were in a position. They talk about they're going to do all kinds of production. The 1D, 1F, it was supposed to be aggressively pursued, where by the end of the first term, each district will have a factory.
No, I'm talking about the NDC. The NDC is talking about all this amortization. Talking about the GDP and all, but they are not talking about how we can generate money. They're only talking about Akuffo Addo.
But they are saying they would invest in the productive sectors of the economy. That's majority of the investment they've seen from the MPP went into a non-productive sectors. For instance, like they invested heavily in free SHS. They invested heavily. They restored allowances for training colleges, which the NDC thought those allowances should be student loans, so that the students, just like everywhere else, instead of giving them an allowance that they don't have to pay back, a teacher should be made to get student loans. So there are ideas that I'm sure Paul would have been the one to canvas, but some of those are what I heard from the NDC's quarters as far as how they would have generated profits. Good to see your face, Afa. You waited for Paul to leave before you show up.
Is Paul going yet?
Right. So, Afa, on this topic, I'm sure in your area as well, there's some demonstration over some government's lack of delivery of services that they've promised.
Yeah.
But a lot of these demonstrations seem not to yield the results, right? We make the noises. We leave from what we saw with GPRTU, like even Atto is referring to here. It's very effective. All they did is withdraw a very critical service. Of course, teachers can go on strike and they don't mind. But when you withdraw, when the GPRTU withdraw, I think we should all, if we have problem, we should just go and find a way to convince the GPRTU to demonstrate for us. Because I think
that's not a solution. That's not a solution, Alfred.
All right, so tell us what the solution is.
Our demonstrations are misplaced. If you you see, so I was working with the hotel with the hotel union Unite here, right? I was part of their contract and political organizing committee. Okay, so who are involved in checking abuses and stuff like that. Now this is what they do. They don't wait till the last minute before they go and negotiate the contracts.
Right.
They don't go immediately. In your contract is renewed, they start working. Okay, so the demonstrations are the demonstrations and the strikes and things are last minute. Now, in the course of that, they realized that it wasn't working. So what they did was to have a strike fund. So right here, most of these unions have a strike fund. So in Ghana, they are striking, and then you see that nobody gets paid for going on strike or to demonstrate and stuff like that. So they go 1 or 2 days, they go back. But here, people are paid. And I don't know how many years they can strike in Chicago now, because I've not been with them for so many years. You know, they, at the time that I was there, at least they could strike for a whole year and paid all the workers. You know, now, okay, so here we are. I have said it and I'll always say that anything legal in the system that we are paying for, anything in the system that I don't have a problem with all those things. See, the infractions, the corruption, the abuses, the money that was supposed to have gone into the contract to build the roads that we are getting shoddy work for and stuff like that. Those are the things, the projects that are there that we've left years, and then we pay all these money that the money could have gone somewhere. Those are the things we should be looking at. But we wait, COVID has hit. We are not generating enough. Government is trying to do it, and then we say we are not going to allow, and that, prices of goods are going up. Okay, these companies or whatever cannot say that they're all going to increase stuff, and things are increasing, and so we say we're not going to allow. Maybe if we had paid attention, I keep saying this all the time, maybe if you had paid attention to the Auditor General's report, and each year, I'm not going to go far, I'm just going to go this Fourth Republic. Each year, for the past 20 whatever years that we've been experimenting with this republic, if each year, the Auditor General's report, the abuses, the misappropriations, the infractions, and all these money that are going, if we had gone for the money, maybe we would have gotten some money to cushion ourselves. Maybe we would have gotten a little bit to do some of the things we're talking about. Okay, so demonstrations are good. I'm not saying don't go on them. They are the last resort when you have negotiated and nothing has happened. Strikes are okay. They are all very important, and we all need to encourage them because it speaks to the leaders in another way. But what do we have to wait for the last minute? Now, what these organizations should be doing, the GPRTU and all these teachers and other stuff, is to have their political side. But you see, the politics is where all the decisions are made. You have to have it. You have to have, they have to. In Chicago, what we do is that you are mute, so I'm not able to hear you.
The political roundtable is where all the decisions are really made. So there should be
and most cases they are not represented.
Yeah,
they are not represented. They get the results after everything has taken place, and that's not fair to them either. You know, so yeah, you see. And then one thing that we have to realize is that in most of these cases, it is the case of when the two elephants are fighting, who suffers? It is the grass, and the grass is completely innocent, right? Yeah, the grass is completely innocent, and we've seen this over and over the years. So that it is important that we have to rethink these demonstrations and these strikes and stuff like that, so that we can be ahead of the problem before it comes. Because most of the things that is happening in the budget and these price increases were to be expected, and then so that they can have these high level people that will go in there ahead of time to try to pin down these effects of increases and taxes and stuff like that before they hit. But to go on this tangent, it is some way. So the GPRTU, like Atto said, it is their right. They feel that the way things are going to affect their business, and government ought to listen to them and do something about it. We don't have a choice than to listen. Now, you see, Sunyani, especially the Bronga Hafu area, we've been very quiet for a very long time. Right. Now it's divided into three: the Bono East and the Hafu, and we have been down there. In fact, the roads and stuff like that in my constituency leaves much to be desired. Right. Okay. But you see, here is the point. You see, when you do it this way, then it looks as if somebody is behind it. I want to see a sustained fight. Okay. So the fight can be in two fronts, where you gather all the opinion leaders because they have connections in government. The Ohinis and the ministers and whoever is in there. What is it that they are doing in the government that they are not getting the development that we need? Atto mentioned Sunyani Airport has been, the renovation and the expansion. It should have been commissioned long time ago. Why is it not commissioned? So sometimes people are forced to go on these tangents because they've been neglected for far too long. Right. People that otherwise were quiet, were not, you don't hear about them and stuff like that. And for me, I like that. It speaks to the leaders that you cannot take people for granted. Okay. Right. And that it is important that we fast track our development. At this point in our history, these farmers, I mean the BA area, the Bono Ahafo, and you see,
Yeah, that's
we
heavy farming area.
to an extent, yeah, we do a lot of farming, and cashew over there is even right now booming. Like almost half of the farmers there are cashew farmers that, you know.
By kind courtesy of the former Minister of Trade, NDC, what is his name? Akospi Ogara.
Yeah, that's fine. But it is important that we open and we accept it. One of the things that has fast-tracked development in these advanced countries is that, you see, the roads are there. Go and come. So people, you know, people then begin to do things on their own. But to go and come is a problem. Then come on now. It's really headache. And I think that, I mean, it is important that, you know, we do something about these things and make sure that, you know, people are cushioned. People are cushioned. It is very important.
So
can I echo if I small?
Yeah, I think he has some great suggestions on how we should demonstrate going forward. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm surprised my friend, brother Ifa is talking about Chicago and the union. In Ghana, it doesn't work like that. You go sit with people to talk about stuff. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Politicians don't listen to people unless it has an effect on them. So
unless it's time to come and ask for their vote.
Yeah. So no. So what I'm saying is that maybe if you listen, what I'm saying is that they have to take the political decision of the country very serious. So what it means is that you have to have a political committee in all their various associations and that negotiates with them year-long contract period and stuff like that. That's not. The number two thing is that when you say people should go on strike and demonstrations, right? That if the leaders are not going to do that, you are ready to withdraw services and pay them for a certain number of time. And when you go to New York, right? Let me tell you, in New York, which of the taxi union, the hotel union, there was a list of them. Under no circumstance would they let them go on demonstration because they have like 5 years to strike. And they will pay them how much ever they're making every week, every month.
Right.
So they don't try. And the money is sitting there.
All I'm saying is you're comparing apples to oranges. In the US, stuff work.
Right.
In Ghana, it's a different ballgame altogether.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, that I am not saying do it now. I'm saying put that also in place. You see, this money it is little money you put together. It is little money you put together over a period. So if you have built it over a period, you see, to build a fund, it is not one day you go pick up the money somewhere. Put yourself that the next 5 years, if we strike, we should be able to pay workers for like a month. And can we afford GPRTU striking for a month? No. Right?
No, we can't.
Yeah, but I'm cool for your suggestion though.
Right. So yeah, the strikes we definitely need to have a better way to do them. It's interesting that we don't have lobbying in Ghana the way we see them in the United States here, where even the unions, for instance, will have a lobbyist who represent their interests, so that some of these things that come to strike shouldn't even come to strike. It's just little things that could have been negotiated in the back end, and government, like when government decides to increase fuel prices, the lobbyists would have gone into some type of stakeholder engagement with the government and register their positions, which if the government doesn't adhere to would have caused those strikes. And the government listening, knowing what could happen, would definitely pass the right policies. So maybe it's about time we kind of grow that lobby institution in Ghana so that they can advocate for people. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, which is the last thing, and we can do it very quickly and then bring the program to an end. But I, of course, want to also hear what you've learned from today's program. But the last thing is a good news. What we are doing to prevent jihadism in Ghana. When I say jihadism, I know even posing this topic kind of caused a lot of fear. I've seen some discussions in the background where people think, I need to bring an Islamist scholar to discuss jihadism. But jihadism that I'm referring to here is not where Muslims who pick up arms against Christians in the country. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not advocating for any destabilization or anything. But we know for a fact that the country up north, Burkina Faso and Mali, are in turmoil. We know, there's been 2 coups d'etats just last year in Mali alone, mostly fueled by Islamic extremists who, seize gold mines that are now well protected or mineral mines that are now well protected, get their funds that way, finance all kinds of network Islamic fighting across the region within the 5 Sahel countries. So up north of us, it's really hot and it's coming down, it's infiltrating. We know there's been attacks in Burkina Faso, there's been an attack in Benin recently. So in 2017, President Akuffo Addo brought together a couple of those countries, the 4 southern countries to Burkina Faso, which are Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo, Benin, to form a security pact sort of network where they share intelligence and cooperate on operations. And this pact is actually called an Accra Initiative. It's called Accra Initiative. It's not a recognized United Nations regional subcommittee, but it is a subcommittee under the United Nations, though not recognized. This collaboration between these countries is so that the issues of Islamics or internal conflicts within tribes that are taken advantage of by, Al-Qaeda in Africa or the ISIS, we are trying to prevent that from spilling into the southern parts of West Africa. In other words, to protect Ghana, we have to fight the fight in Burkina Faso. So recently, there's been an operation that actually resulted in seizure of several weapon-making equipment, bomb-making equipment, bombs. Several extremists were arrested. Almost about 300 of them or so were arrested. Vehicles were taken, drugs were seized. This operations has been going on. This is the 4th of its kind. There was one in 2018. There was one in 2019. I think 2 in 2019, 1 in 2020. And the current one is what we've seen in 2021. They are usually called coup d'aglo, Operations coup d'aglo. So Operation coup d'aglo, which is a result of the Accra Initiative, is helping secure Ghana from infiltrations by jihadis coming from up north. This is good news. For this reason, Ghana has actually also recruited of that. We see recruitment exercise where people were running all over the place trying to get into the military. We see Cote d'Ivoire beefing up its military. We see Ivory Coast beefing up their military, and they are all sending those forces up north to kind of stop the jihadism up north so that it doesn't come to Ghana. Now, shouldn't we be commending the president for this? Don't you think this could be one of the things that perhaps the president should be getting another award for? And I was hoping Paul Disoso would have been here to opine on this, but let's start with you, Atto. I think this is a serious matter, no matter how you look at it. Ghana, we've been relatively peaceful for so long, and so we tend to ignore some of the works that go into kind of guarantee the peace that we enjoy. Don't you think initiatives like this requires some commendation?
Yes, I was going to say that. I would say this is one of the only initiative by the president that I would admit that he deserves an award. And I wish that my brother Paul was here to hear me say that. And to add to your point, this is in no way to say that the Islamic religion is a bad religion. Islam is a religion of peace. And like any other religion, all the religions propose a peace in initiatives. And it's only a section extremists who commit these crimes. And a hypocrisy on our part, I say Christians or Christians or followers of Christ, is that when we see somebody commit a crime and he appears to be a Muslim, then we label them as extremists. But when it's a Christian, we don't even go to that tangent. So that's hypocrisy.
Oh, we said they might be mentally challenged.
Yeah,
or
I know.
Yeah, they should take them to rehabilitation.
This is probably why Nana Addo has been called the man of Africa. And like I said, I wish Paul was here to hear that. We have to come up with proactive steps.
Right.
That you think that all these initiatives were being projected towards financial terms. Be proactive about some of these things so that we don't see ourselves in an abyss like we see
Right.
ourselves financially right now. So I wouldn't take much of the time. Akuffo Addo has done an excellent job, and that has prevented all these things. Because you hear from Mali, you hear from Nigeria, you hear from Burkina Faso, all these problems. So if Nana Addo is being proactive in thinking about some of these things, it needs to be recommended. So Nana Addo,
Of course,
right now,
if Ghana were to be attacked under his regime, oh my God,
oh yeah, I know. So we have
we'll
to
crucify him so bad.
when is due.
Yeah. So, what do you say to this? Afar, I think it's the consensus here is the president, deserves some commendation here. This is an issue that, back in the days during the Rolling times, Burkina Faso had Thomas Sankara relatively peaceful, even under Blaise Compaoré, relatively peaceful, but it has gone down the drain so far. And the news coming from that area of the world is not very helpful for Ghana if Ghana were to relax. It's going to be dangerous for us to want to relax. So President has done something good here. What do you say?
Yeah, so when it comes to security, independence, economic of Africa, Africa's relationship with the world, Ghana has played a very, very major role.
Right.
I mean, from independence all the way up to now. All these things have been very, but we're going to focus on Nana Addo's administration for now, and then we can add on as we go along.
Right.
During Nana's first time, right, there was this news that was coming because the Sahel region, they were descending down, and there was the news that they were going to enter Ghana. So there was that quick response collaboration between Ghana and the US military, and they quickly launched these things and they were able to coil it. And in recent time, I think, was it somewhere last year or somewhere this year, where in the north, there were some training camps that were disbanded. There were some, all these issues. You see, Ghana has done well as far as some of these things, and we need to do more internally to quash these. Once in a while you hear the concubines and these things, and you don't know how it's going to spill over and stuff like that. It's very important. We've been lucky that Cote d'Ivoire, even though they do this thing in recent times, they've been able to handle their stuff, and Togo as well, because these are where we border ourselves, right? But it is still very important that we take these security challenges into consideration. Now, one of the first things that the West African sub-region would have to do is that, whatever development you talk about, if you don't handle security, you are dead. And security go as low as, in fact, the first thing is employment. The first issue with security, because when people are hungry, they will just do anything.
Right.
Now, what we have to realize is that I have a small group that we discuss security issues with. You see, there are bad people with a whole lot of stuff that they're looking into places that have problems to sell them drugs, human harvesting. And these things goes on in countries that are messed up. When countries are messed up, they are into war, then people want to sell their drugs. Because that's where you get people recruited. You are able to abuse people and recruit them to do these things. That's where, if they have resources, you get them cheap and sell them to the black market. That is where you are able to get people into prostitution and child labor and all these kind of stuff. So there is that international cartel that are also interested in how your country is messed up, and then they pop in. Right. So leaders would always have to be thinking of these things. Employ your youth.
Right.
It will be surprised you'll be surprised that most of these things are youth. They are not employed. They go there, they give them something to eat, give them some weed and cocaine to sniff, and they are ready to do anything. And they will do massive stuff. And it's easy to indoctrinate these little young ones.
Right.
So the West African region, I was going to look at the African Union. The African Union should be interested. The ECOWAS should be interested, and with Ghana and all this, if we don't take up these things, man, it is going to be a big problem on us. And Ghana cannot think that we've been able to handle this thing so the rest should be left aloof. No. With what the president is doing, it is very good, and we have to make sure that they are stabilized. Military takeover and all these kind of things is not the way to go. We have to have democracy, and we need to see the development and employing of the youth. The youth have a lot of energy they want to unearth. If you don't make good use of it, then it will be used by these people to cause problem. And believe you me, good things is going on, people are benefiting. Bad thing is going on, people are benefiting. So what will you choose as a leader? And it is important that we seen all these things and we're taking care of it. But we must not just be interested that Ghana somehow has been able to handle it. But, you know, the way we're going across in West Africa, you know, it must be our concern. It must be, and anything that we will do. Because they will end up in Ghana. Look at this, the Liberians. They ended up, if it happens in Congo, Cote d'Ivoire, where are they going? Nigerians are trooping into Ghana. And we cannot continue to absorb them because in most cases, they come with the criminals. They get into your country and then you see this kidnapping and blah, blah, blah. You have to deal with this addict too. You know, so this is an interesting conversation and it needs to go on. And we need to make sure that, you know, these extremists are taken care of. Else, we will have a dark consequences in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, so the Accra Initiative, just to kind of quickly state what it is, so people who are just joining to know, it's the objectives of that organization. It's the Accra Initiative is aimed to prevent the spillover of terrorism from the Sahel, to address transnational organized crime and violent extremism in member country border areas. So if you're looking at the member countries of Burkina Faso, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Mali is observer and Niger is also an observer. So like I was saying earlier, it does not fall under the UN, the AU sanctioned member or sanctions security pacts. But well, that's about that. So let me ask you maybe your last questions before we go. What have you learned from today's show that you want to share with my listeners and viewers? Because we say the Ghana Agenda is a show that people who come to watch us would hear something for the first time or learn something by the end of the show. What is it that you, Efa, have learned from today's show that you can share with my listeners? And perhaps what have my listeners learned themselves? And if they can just type it in the comment section and we'll read it out for everybody to hear.
Oh, each day we learn different stuff. Addo, as usual, has been neutral, even though today he's been more favorable to us, and that is what Paul don't like. You know, Paul doesn't like that at all. But sometimes I also feel the pinch, and then I'll take it and be quiet or try to neutralize it a little bit. You know, Paul had a short time, so he punched a lot, which is okay, which is perfectly fine. Now, what we all need to do is that there's a way to get to a destination, right? We all don't claim to know it all. But I like it that we're hitting on our leaders. It is important because, 60-something years and we're still where we are. It's a shame onto the country. And, we come here, we are always discussing what we have to do to move forward, what we have to do. All the citizens want is that, at the end of the day, look at America. Even though prices are going up, they're hiring. So go work and feed yourself. I tell people, go and do some job and go buy what you want, And then off you go. But we can't say that for our country. And it is important for us to industrialize and put all these things in place so that, the citizens can have a feel for which they put our leaders in there. It is important. Now, today I've learned a lot. The first thing is that, when I come on the show, I have to be honest and do justice to the topic and be truthful. And say it as it is, And because my government is in power, I don't have to be all support. Sometimes we get it wrong. And it is important that we admit and then seek the advice and move on. My friend Addo, we've missed him for the past 2 weeks. And I was wondering what is the problem. But now he's coming with his usual professionalism and hate. And I love him so much because, he hits where he's supposed to hit. He criticizes where he's supposed to criticize. But Addo, COVID-19, so sometimes be messy with us a little bit. Next year, we wouldn't have no excuse. And me, I'm going to join you next year. we will hate this government because me, Agenda 111, I want to see it, all of it happening. I don't want to hear no excuse. And when I find myself in Ghana, I will be going around finding out what is it that the government is doing, because we need to centralize.
What do you think about it, the possibility of it actually happening, though? Do you think it's gonna actually unfold the way we have it planned, that we would have
the agenda 111?
Yeah,
I think some of it is going to pass gonna pass to past 2025, no, past 2024. But I want to see a chunk of it commissioned 2024. There's no two ways about that. Because, you know, we don't know. When you plan, right, though you have your set target, there's always the plus or minus. But I don't want to see less than 50% of all of it, the one that will pass. I don't want to hear less than 50% of it, you know, that we've advanced in it. But I want to see at least half of it done by 2024. Other than that, believe you me, we all will come here and we're going to hit, because then it's going to be excuses and excuses. And, you know, there's a point to which you can take excuses.
Right.
You know, sometimes you have to pause and say, hey, no. You know, but, you know, this is a great show. You come in with all the information and, you know, you well read about the topics and stuff like that. And it's important that we help it be the #1 all over the world for the diaspora and for the Africans, and a place where we come and get information. Thanks for the opportunity to be a part of this success.
Thank you so much. I think people are recognizing the value of Ghana Agenda as a one-stop shop for, you know, gathering a lot of information in a short span, right? Within 2 hours, we talked about a lot today, to be honest. And so I'm interested to see what Dr. Addo has learned from today's show that you can share with us and to the listeners.
So first of all, I have learned today that you, Alfred, you're becoming a very good moderator. You're very you have all information. You're learned, and you were able to redirect all of us with your questioning and everything. So that's one thing I have learned. First of all, and I will add to what Ifa said, that you come with all the information. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Second of all, I will say that there's all these demonstrations. We have the president, we have VAT. Remember, people talked about the Kumi Prekon demonstrations. So like I said, these are nothing new. We've had this in the past. But this is in a long time I've seen Ghanaian push back on taxes. And I know that my friend Paul will say that this is a lazy man's approach. Like, we have to find a way to generate some revenue. So if the government can at least temper justice with mercy and think about how Ghanaians are suffering, and maybe come down to probably 1% or less than that, probably would help. Because I know that the taxes, like I said, is really focused on some of us over here, where we send chunk of monies home through Mongo. So the government should just be considerate about that. And with Nana Akuffo becoming the president, the man of the continent, like I said, is because of all these. I believe the only thing he's achieved significantly or profoundly is this all these security issues with the pact with all these other countries.
Right.
And then the last thing I'll talk about is demonstrations. I mean, like I said, the people of Sudan have suffered for a long time.
Right.
Our airport is not one of the very best. Our stadium is not one of the very best. So it's high time the politicians come to our aid and see that the MPP has been voted for a lot by people of Sudan and Brunga Hafu. So it's high time that they at least reward us with something substantial.
Right.
Greetings to everybody. I miss you guys all for the past couple of weeks. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Addo, for those last comments. So for me, what I've learned is that is something Efa said, which is really that for demonstration to be effective, and what he has seen in this country is that there are funds established for demonstrators to be remunerated during the period that they are demonstrating. That is a wonderful idea. I've never really thought about that. That if the unions can consider having a fund established. It could be where, they take a fraction, some small monies, de minimis from workers or people within that union towards that fund, so that when it comes time for them to demonstrate, that they can have people on the ground demonstrating without wavering, because of course they are losing income and they are not able to continue those demonstrations. With that, we'll be able to have good answers. We'll be able to have their outcomes usually answered to by government. Also, if we can find a way to put together a system of lobbyists in our country where they will intervene on behalf of institutions like trade unions, etc., that would also be laudable. So that's something I've learned today. I didn't, contemplated that coming into the show, but listening closely to my panelists has taught me that today. And I hope you've also learned something. If you have, please put it in the comment section and I'm happy to read that. But if not, that would be the show for today. Next week, though, if everybody is in agreement, I want us to do a review of 2021. In other words, it's going to be our last show for the year, because I think a week after that is Christmas and the following week will be New Year. So this will be the last opportunity we'll have on the 18th to actually look at everything that happened in 2021. And oh boy, a lot of things did happen in 2021. So I hope and pray that we would all be safe, sound, healthy. Of course, Omicron is there, so we protect ourselves from that. And come back next week healthy. Both panelists and my viewers come back next week so we can do justice to all the things that happened in 2021, how they've impacted us, how they impacted people we love, and how all the things that happened in 2021 impacted our dear, beloved country, Ghana. With that, I said, thanks for watching.
Last, a quick announcement.
Sure.
The Airway Association is having a party a week today, and BA Association is also having a party a week today.
Okay.
One is with fee, the other is without. But for the BA Association, I'm inviting all our panelists. I know Paul can't come, but I think we can just DHL some of the food to him over there. But I told you are invited. You are not here, so anybody in Chicago.
Yes.
Watching this show, a week today at 66 and Kedzie, you are invited. Be association end of year party.
Nana Akuffo Association of North America. That's what you're saying?
Of Chicago.
Nana Akuffo Association of Chicago. What time is that going to be?
It's going to be 7 p.m. to 2 a.m.
7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, right?
Yes.
And that is in location?
66 and Kedzie.
66 and Kedzie in Chicago.
Yeah,
okay,
Chicago.
So you've heard that. So that is for the Nana Akuffo. You don't have the details for the Airway Association one, right?
Oh no, I don't have the details, but it's on the same day. And it's on the same day. I forgot the if I was gonna go, then I would have had the details,
Right.
So yeah, it's on the same day, and as many people as can join them. Theirs is, I think they're charging like 50 to come in, and so they're raising some money to go and help with development in with the tidal waves and I think some other projects. So if people can show up, that would be great. I don't have the details on board, but anybody that is interested can call Steve and Empress and
Empress and Black Jesus
and they can call you to call them to.
Yeah, I'll get that information after the show. So if you're interested, please reach out to me.
Right.
I will join you. You see me Saturday, God willing.
Oh, absolutely! It's been a long time, and I have a special dance. So come and check it out. I will give you. I will drop one in your mailbox to see what is happening.
I'll bring my camera to
you. All right. So we'll take nice pictures.
Thank you very much, Amuzu, for the opportunity.
We'll see all the pictures as we return from our holiday breaks. But guys, enjoy your Nana Akuffo Association Christmas, and for those who will be attending the Airway Association of Chicago, also enjoy your festivities. Please be safe while you're doing all that, and we'll see you again next week, Saturday, on the Ghana Agenda while we do the year-end review. Thanks for watching the show. Again, my name is Afra Muzu. We've been talking with Addo, Commandant and so, and Efa Ameyao. Paul Isosu was with us earlier, but he left. This has been the Ghana Agenda. We hope you enjoy the show. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.